Speed it up, speed it up, speed it up, speed it up. Speed it up, 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 speed it up. Go faster, ayy, go faster, ayy, go faster, ayy, go faster, ayy. I'ma wake up, go dumb. I'm pray to God like a nun. I'ma put that on my son. On go like 3, 2, 1. Don't smoke, I need my lungs. I stack and feed my funds. I'ma do this, have fun, ayy. I'm blasted, ayy. Don't matter, ayy. Can't match it, ayy. Go faster, ayy. Speed it up, 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 speed it up. Go faster, ayy. Go faster, ayy. Go faster, ayy. Go faster, ayy. You do you, I do me. I'ma take this overseas. I'ma do this for my seeds. Wipe your hair and spin bling. You heard top speed, that's me. You heard add it up, that's me. You heard way up, that's me. I'ma soundtrack everything, ayy. I'm blasted, ayy. Don't matter, ayy. Can't match it, ayy. Go faster, ayy. Speed it up, 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 speed it up. Go faster, ayy. Go faster, ayy. Go faster, ayy. Go faster, ayy. Speed it up, 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 speed it up. Go faster, ayy. Go faster, ayy. Go faster, ayy. Go faster, ayy. Speed it up, speed it up. Speed it up, 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 speed it up. Go faster, ayy. Go faster, ayy. Go faster, ayy. Go faster, ayy. I'ma wake up, go dumb. I'm pray to God like a nun. I'ma put that on my son. On go like 3, 2, 1. Don't smoke, I need my lungs. I stack and feed my funds. I'ma do this, have fun, ayy. I'm blasted, ayy. Don't matter, ayy. Can't match it, ayy. Go faster, ayy. Speed it up, speed it up, speed it up, speed it up.
All right. Welcome to EUC, guys. Sorry about the late start, technical issues. But anyway, we're here. We made it. Today's not going to be a long live. It's mostly about talking about, the next EUC Blitz 002. We had the first Blitz 001 with Sensei Vegan and myself, which I felt went great. Let me just let on the Sensei right now. Sensei, how's it going? I'm hearing a feedback. Is that you?
Might be a fan, maybe.
No. It's a feedback. Like I talk and I hear myself.
It sounds clear on my end.
Okay. Hello. Yeah, I'm still hearing it. It's weird. Maybe it's.
Is it the headset? Maybe. Yeah, I can't hear anything.
All right. Well, yeah, man. So that's weird. I'm hearing myself. Anyway, you know what I'll do? Let's see. He is muted. Can't unmute guest because. There's always something, man.
Dude, that's just technical. It's always like that, dude.
Hold on, let me see. That's fine. Echo cancellation. Yeah. I don't know what it is. Let's see. All right, let me see if I can call him. It's so weird. Anyway, Sensei, how's it going, man?
It's good. It's good. We're trying to see if it's on my end. Let's see. Mic check. You hear me?
You sound great.
Microphone check. Yeah.
Yeah, you sound perfectly fine.
Okay. Yeah, he was on when I first popped in the lobby.
Yeah, because the thing messed up. We had to start again, so I'm not sure if he's disconnected, but I just gave him a call. Let me see if he responds. But yeah, you did set up a track, right?
Yeah, it was just I call it the 2:30 MetLife loop. Again, that'd be a late night because there's still a few weeks left on New York summer streets. And there's really two good ways you could do that. You could actually run down into the tunnel. We all know that tunnel. We've seen it in your videos. I've done it in a couple of my videos. Or you can just make that left turn and come back around and shoot back down the other side of the building. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And make a complete circuit out of it.
Yeah.
And then the winner comes out of the other side of the tunnel and would just the finish line would be like 47th and Park. So you would start at 46th and Park and then use the MetLife building loop. I think that'd be pretty sick, actually.
Right. I mean, it looked like a good track.
Oh, yeah. Especially when there's no traffic on it.
Right.
You can run it hard.
Yep. Anyway, I'm not sure where the guest is. I called him. He's not answering. But my guess is he probably just went out for a little bit when I shut down the computer to have it restart because it was stuck. But
yeah, I did see him. I did. He couldn't hear me though. He couldn't hear me.
I saw him too. Yeah. But he's out right now. But hopefully, Mystery Rider, you could sign back in. So yeah, guys, we're trying to set up this 002 EUC Blitz. Hopefully the dude can come on. If not, it is what it is.
No, we can try it. We can try to reconvene again to get the person on. Yeah, technical stuff happens, man. It's just that's just part of doing any online stuff.
So hopefully he'll just come back on. I don't know. But yeah. So yeah, man.
So what else is going on in your neck of the woods?
Nothing. I've just been prepping my wheel, getting it ready for like. I found that my setup, even though I really like the goat setup, it seems like it's the left side is getting tight on my Achilles. So I'm not sure if it's. I don't know. I gotta figure it out.
You think you might be favoring that side a little more?
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh, so iRides is here, but I don't see him. Let me see. Hold on for a second. iRides.
There it is.
Yo.
All right. Cool.
There he is.
What's
up, man? What's going on, Mr. Sam?
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
There he is.
Did we wake you up, man? You look like you were sleeping.
Bro, I'm waiting for the live to start. I'm here on the couch, just like, and in the background music, so I just fell asleep.
Right.
That's funny.
No, I don't blame you.
Little technical difficulty.
I don't know what happened.
That's just tech.
It's kind of hot over here, so the computer
It's a little 15-minute nap.
freeze on me. Yeah, man. So iRides is a New York rider, and he is a little frozen. I'm not sure what's going on with technical difficulties today, but
We're gonna roll with it.
yeah. You're.
Am I frozen?
Well,
Just
you're
every so often. You're all right now.
and it's coming like how do you say it? Like grainy almost. And it's
Is that better?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
better. That's better.
All right. It's McDonald's.
Yeah, man. Wi-Fi.
Gotta wear a 10-foil hat, man. Get that.
Yeah. But it's gonna keep breaking up. I'm not sure why, but it's just gonna keep doing that. I
Yeah,
guess.
we'll work with it. We'll work it.
Yeah. So what's
You're
going
not
on,
echoing
iRides?
into my camera.
I am. I'm echoing. I don't know why.
It's for my. Let me see. Tell me if you keep echoing.
Hello. Yeah, I'm still echoing.
Me
See,
either.
I can't hear anything on my end. You guys sound fine to me.
Yeah, you sound fine. You sound fine to me.
How are you listening to Ustride's stream?
I'm going straight through my computer speakers.
Oh, so maybe it's going back into your mic and then because I can hear myself.
I hear you perfect.
Oh, I see. Right.
No, I know I can hear myself
you-
back because of.
Let me mute him for a second. Let me see. Test.
Hello.
Yeah. So now I can't. Yeah, I think he's right. It's going back into your speak.
It's me. I'll put a headset on.
Yeah.
That's a good
Put a
point.
headset on.
So what's going on, Sam? We don't want to make it too long.
No, I'm chilling. Little family barbecue with my girl. That's about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Are you the only rider in your family?
She rides actually. If you consider JR, he's like my little bro. He rides.
Oh, I do. Yeah, you guys
JR.
don't even ride. You guys fly,
JR.
dude.
JR did amazing at the Apple Valley.
Yeah.
Just crashed at the end, but
Unfortunately, I don't let him live it down. So there's that. Yeah.
he would have done really good. I think maybe he got a little too anxious. What do you think?
It was. Show said that he had a tactic, which was just to stay like right behind the person and kind of shake him up a bit, and it worked. He said that when he was going into the turn, like that turn is something that he practiced plenty of times, and he had always been clean on it from. He was clean on that turn in specific from the beginning.
Right.
But I guess like he took the turn, and I guess Show was just like right there with him. So he like looked. He said that he was already scraping, looked back, and like did get shaken up a bit by the fact that Show was right there, and then like went deeper into the car, which caused him to scrape out. So
Gotcha.
that was that. Yeah.
Sensei, that's something you've always said. Like, the pressure is always on the person in the
Dude,
front, especially if you're right behind
no
them.
joke, man. When you got
Yeah.
someone, because it's like you want to push it a little further, a little bit harder to try to stay ahead, man. And it's just
Yeah.
like it can just throw you, just a little bit can just throw you off. But we all know it don't take much, man.
Yeah.
Doesn't take much.
Hey, all right, Sam, tell us a little bit about yourself. Pretty much what you want to let people know, and then I'll have Sensei Vegan match us up against each other, ask us questions and stuff, kind of get us going for that next EUC Blitz that we got going.
What do I start with? I don't know. I
don't
am
know.
from New York. Sam, Bronx born, raised in New York. What's it called? I run a shop. I'm a shop owner, technician, rider. I started about 2 years ago. Now, yeah, it's 2 years now, as of July. Right?
Yep,
No,
this is
actually,
his shop right
no,
here.
I think it makes it 3
Shop.
years actually.
I think you're 3 years.
So
in
if you
now.
want to go to
Yeah,
his shop,
this
it's
is now my third
iRides.
year.
Okay, so it's iai-rides.com. That's the shop right here. So you guys can go check it out. Yeah.
I haven't seen the site in a bit.
You're
site's
that
nice.
busy.
Site's
You're that busy.
clean,
You
man.
can't see your own site, right?
Thank you, man. Yeah. But yeah, we're working on trying to do the build out for the shop right now. Get product in there, all of that good stuff. Right now, just focusing on servicing. I even got to update the page to include like the Commander Mini and the Extreme, the A2. All of that is missing from there, so gotta get
Okay.
those on there. Yeah.
Do you plan on having the products in store or kind of like Jason,
Yeah.
where you order it?
Well, the idea is both. The idea is that you can order, it'll be shipped to you. Really, I'm more focused on the local market than being like an online retailer. I think there's a lot of headache that comes with it. And while it may be good money, there's the headache is a whole other story. So for me, I'm just more focused on the local market, creating a store in New York where, of course, just by default, it would be something that the current ridership would be able to enjoy, come try out wheels, see every wheel that's on the market for the most part. Whether it's, host demos, start making my own content. And like, it'll be parts and accessories and,
Nice.
just more of a lifestyle store, I guess you can say.
Gotcha.
I feel like that's one thing that's missing from all of this is, skaters, you can dress like a skater and never own a skateboard in your life. Because at
Facts.
some point, there was a point where, people went, that's what a skater looks like, because everyone kind of had that similar aspect to them. I'd like to not create the style. I think that'll be created by the people in the community, but just have a place where that can flourish. If somebody has something that they designed specifically for EUC riders, like I want that in the shop. Once I have the place set up, I actually want to reach out to some of the members of the community who are already doing their own thing and just say like, hey, if you want to plug it in, let's get it showcased. Let's have it here. Whether it's, things like the EV-Wear line or there's a girl out in Roosevelt Island, Micheline Hess. She goes by Ghost Queen NYC. Super great, like animator, or I'm not sure what to call her. I don't want to mislabel like her art, but she's really talented. I would love to have her do some graphics, throw them on some T-shirts, have them in the shop. And anyone else, whether it's pads, bumpers, pedals, doesn't matter. Whatever it is, I want it there. I want to be able to showcase it. I'm more about that. And then that's more for the existing community, throwing events, stuff like that. But outside of that, I also want to, just grow the ridership, focus on my local market, throw events where people can, each one teach one. Everybody comes, they bring a person. I'll have enough wheels where people can try them out. And that's already something in the works. Like I have a bunch of V5s in the shop for that purpose. For the sake of having something relatively inexpensive that people can try out. Yeah, you drop it, whatever. It's not that expensive to fix, if anything, and just get people learning. Because I think one of the biggest barriers to all of this is the the skill aspect, like just being able to get on it. And then not only is it skill, but it's the price together. It's like, do I
Right.
spend $2,000 on something I don't even know if I know how to ride?
Right.
Or, you know, I can spend a couple $100s on something I don't know how to ride, or I can spend a couple $1,000s on something I know I will be able to ride. But having those two together, it's like, ooh, no, I don't know about that. So getting that barrier out the way, we offer classes. I also do like where, let's say you do 2 hours or 4 hours for, you know, whatever amount. The idea is that I would take that amount off of your purchase when you now pull the trigger. So you're not really losing anything.
Nice.
You know, like let's say it's $100 for 2 hours. I teach you for 2 hours. You decide to buy a wheel, we'll take that $100 off. But if you just don't decide to buy a wheel, then you know you just had a lesson. It is what it is. And that's the kind of like that's kind of what I'm pushing for as far as the shop goes as well. Just being able to encourage people to hop on, because I think that that's the biggest opportunity in New York. I think is just like teaching people, like bringing people in. I already think of it as like the ultimate urban commuter. So
Yeah.
like, you know, all you got to do is show people that, and it'll do its thing from there.
Right.
Yeah. Let me get my charger real quick. Hold on.
Do you think, man? Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, right now the biggest barrier is price. I mean, because you spend like $2,000-3,000 on a wheel, and then
man,
it's not the wheel you want. Then you have to go ahead and put it on the market and wait for it to be sold.
that's the thing. That's why I'm so. I mean, when you hear me talk, you and I talk a lot offline as far as wheels. That's why I'm so picky with what I get, man, because it's not.
Right.
It's not cheap, dude.
No, it's true. It's not. Yeah.
It's not. So you have to be sure in what you want, you know. And then a lot of times I always hear it, go with the old tried and tested wheels. You know what I mean? So you got that ringing in the back of your head too, man. So
yeah, but then it's like you buy them, the old tried and tested wheels, but then you're like, wait a minute, I've outgrown it so fast. Now I'm gonna have to dish out more money to spend another wheel on another wheel that, you know, I could have bought initially. So I've been through that with the V5 and the V5F. I was like, why did I buy the V5? I learned this thing so fast. It's like 13 miles an hour is just not cutting it. Then I got the V5 when I should have just jumped to the V8 probably.
See, I did that when I got the M10-3. I was like, man, I should have just bought the Tesla to start. But, you know, I learned, and you know, you learn. That's it.
Yeah.
You live and you learn.
Right. Imagine if you had a shop in your area where you could just go to.
I see. That's the thing. I didn't know. And that's what's like where we are today. And when I started, there was nothing. I learned everything off YouTube. You know what I mean? There was nobody around. I learned watching your videos, and that was it. I had no information. So it was just, you know, trial and error.
Yeah. My trial was just watching a ton of videos, you know what I mean? And then found out that, you know, the MSP was actually the Tesla was actually a really good upgrade, to be honest.
Yeah, you know, Tesla's a sneaky little wheel, man.
Yeah, it is.
It's a sneaky little wheel. That darn thing, it's quick, man.
Yeah, you learned on it, right?
Yeah, I still have it. I still have it. Well, that thing's not going anywhere, dude. That thing, I almost got killed on that thing, dude. So it's
oh, that's right. That's
like a darn trophy, man.
That's like
trophy.
That's an initiation wheel.
Yeah, and even with the Sherman, you know, I thought about selling that and then getting something else. But every time I get on the Sherman, it's just like it's solid. You know, you have range, you have decent power. You know, I can ride that thing 70 miles plus, and you know, we did it in Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? We were riding that thing, and it's
you weren't
just
even
like,
worried.
No, not at all. Yeah, you're like, man.
The only thing you had a concern about was the suspension.
The suspension.
But fortunately, a lot of the roads were flat, so you didn't have to.
Right. So I'm thinking, oh my goodness. So I mean, there's a lot of thought that goes into this stuff, man. But just always tell people, take your time, buy what's best for you. And if you don't know anything, reach out. You can reach out to me, Stride, Sam. I mean, there's a lot of people now that you can reach out, and I'll give you information on what you need.
All right, so this is it. So Sam is a writer from EUC, from New York City. Oh my gosh, I said EUC. Your video is frozen, Sam. And you know, as he stated, he has a shop that he currently repairs, upgrades your wheels, do all these things. So if you need to get in contact with him, you contact him via iRides NYC. How can they contact you, man?
Team at irides.com. So team at ai-rides.com, or on the Instagram, ai.rides. What else? Telegram.
Yeah, I'll put it in the
AI
chat when we're done.
Rides.
Yeah, I'll put it in the comments when we're done.
Yeah, he does solid work too. Does solid work.
Yeah, he worked on your wheels. So
he rebuilt my wheel. he rebuilt the Tesla. He put the new tire on the RS. Yeah, he does good work, man. I didn't think the Tesla was coming back, man. he brought it back. So yeah.
All right, so Sam, you said Oh, you're just breaking up, Sam. You're breaking up again.
Oh, I got you. Hold on. It's because it's an iPhone. iPhones are trash.
Oh, really?
I switched. I just died.
Oh, yeah. The battery in the iPhone is no good, dude. I used to have an iPhone.
No, it's my Android. My Android died. But the quality
so
of
you're on your
audio
iPhone
on there is
now.
better. Yeah. But yeah, what was your question?
Yeah, it's still breaking up for some reason.
Is it still bad?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay, give me a second. Hold on.
Yeah, sure. It's like choppy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he worked on your wheel. So basically, let's get into it right now. He mentioned that he has like a track. It's not a track, Blitz, you set it up anywhere, so it doesn't really matter.
It's set and go, man.
Set and go.
That's it.
Yeah, so he has a spot. I'm hoping we can set it up for next week. When I head back to NYC. Must be a lot of well, all right. If your video is not working, you can just leave the video off and we can just talk to you.
So we're gonna set the stage here a bit too. You and Sam tangled before.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys tangled before, so you guys are definitely due for a rematch. It was exciting. Two highly skilled riders, two fast riders. Styles are different.
Very different.
But the different styles make for a great match, you know. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm looking forward to seeing you guys go at it again. I'm not sure. I know Sam was on a monster last time. I don't know what he's going to ride this time. But I'm curious to see what wheel he's going to rock and where it's going to be. And I can't wait to see you guys go at it again, man.
I'm not even sure what kind of rider he is because I saw him at the Apple Valley. I would say he's a good circuit rider. I'm not sure if he's a drag racer or anything like that, but I can say for sure he's a circuit rider. And
definitely drag racer. But I also have the other side of that. I don't think drag racing is a thing with it.
Yeah, he can definitely slip and dip. Yeah, definitely slip.
Breaking up a lot.
What about now? Is that better or no? I'm trying to find
the voice is better. The voice is better.
Okay, hold on. Trying to get to some good service.
It's probably all these trees.
I'm out uptown.
That's how it works, man.
There you go.
Difficulties whenever you don't expect it.
Your voice is perfect.
Your voice sounds great.
Well, I mean, I guess we'll just do that. I'm here.
All right.
I think not a drag racer, but it's not because I can't drag. It's because most wheels, like, I don't think drag racing is a thing with EUCs anyways. Okay. At that point, it's more about the wheel than it is about the rider for the most part. Mm-hmm. There's no way to really modify a EUC to go any faster than it is. There's no true mods out there. You have what you have, and all it takes is a lighter person on the same exact wheel who's willing
that makes sense
as much as you are, and you go. So not a drag racer, but I also don't feel any particular way about that because it's not a skill thing. But yeah.
Yeah, I'll push back on that and disagree with you. Hey, Sensei, you have to leave at 4:30, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, so how about this? You You pit us against each other for the next blitz.
Okay. All right. So, Sam, 30 seconds or less. Okay. I'm thinking you guys go to circuit, right? We're gonna go. We want you guys want to run a circuit.
Yeah.
What you've raced U-Stride before? What's your game plan, man? What are you looking to do? What's your game plan? Number one, what wheel are you gonna rock? I know you ride a monster. What are you gonna rock for the next blitz?
Oh, what is that? Is that that's the EXN?
Could it be EXN versus EXN?
EXN out? Why not?
Well, my EXN is down right now. My plan was to bring it to New York to have either you fix it or David fix it, whoever is available. But I have the EX30.
You just let me know when you wanna do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, that'd be nice too. 2 EXNs? Are you kidding me?
That would be sick if you could.
Dude,
fix
that
it
would
ahead
be.
of time. Yes,
I think that's what you guys should do. EX30 run. What would you, from the first time you met, what would you do? Would you do anything different, or are you just gonna run your same plan?
I mean, if it's a circuit, it's different than riding in traffic. That's for sure. I won the first one, so there's that.
Yes.
But,
hands down.
Throw salt in the wounds, baby.
But no, circuit is super different from riding on the track. I'll even go to say, so much so that, like, let's take JR, for example, right? Like, JR smokes me on the track, but you take us to the city, it's a different story. And so I'm not, like, for me, a track is it's a new area, 1. 2, it's mostly left turns, and I'm more right turn dominant. And so there's a lot of variables there. Like, I even think that, and it showed in the races that I was in, had that track been mostly right turns, I also think any race that I was in would have been a completely different outcome, because anytime there was a right turn involved, everyone else was like super shaky. And so I literally had to like retrain myself from the day that I got to ABS on how to turn left. Like I'd never tried.
Wow, never thought about that.
Was never
I never thought about that.
Never really a thing. Right pedal is a scrape, naturally. Like this is the pedals on the EXN. That's a natural thing for me. And the left side is strictly from ABS. Like that's all from ABS, and you can even see the differences. Like on the right side, it's all the way to the front because that's where I'm comfortable at. It's on the back, on the front, all of that. If you look at the left side, not so much. It's just a little, like, it stops a little.
Right.
That type of.
Okay.
So I do think that that's a whole. It's about that too, like what direction you're running the track in, whether it's left turns, right turns, how many long straight paths there are, and what that leads into. Because at least with ABS, there was a long straight path, but it immediately cut into like a sharp turn, which a lot of people weren't. Because they were so focused on like hitting it really, really fast, by the time they got to the end, whatever lead they had on me, I was able to take that turn and like get in front of them for the most part, because they weren't ready to turn. Meanwhile, I'm not pushing oil because I don't ride the beeps. Like, it's not a thing I do. And so, I'm not pushing my wheel, I'm not beeping, but I'm still catching up to them by the time I get to the end. So it's definitely like there's a difference there. I think it's more about honestly winning the race, like, doing well rather at ABS was more about actually slowing down, not so much about speeding up. Yes. With something coming back to New York and running some like little, intro to speed things over here. When we were doing the tracks, it was so funny because, I would be on the track, no names mentioned, but with people who are like, oh, I'm fast. And then we'd get on the track and I'd be like, bye. Like
it's a different story, man.
It's a whole different story. And like, I'm still training myself, not training actively, but like I would still have to train myself to get used to a track anyways. Because I'm really just more of a street rider. My thrill is more about like, dodging cars, or not even dodging cars. It's more about analyzing the pattern of traffic and being able to like maneuver through that preemptively.
Right.
And
30 seconds or less, Sam.
Oh yeah,
dude, I'm just listening. That's good information.
It's about the analysis of the traffic patterns beforehand, preemptively. I have seldom gotten into any type of accidents while racing or riding or anything like that.
Okay.
That comes from the type of rider that I am. I'm less likely. I'm gonna throw a little shot here. I'm less likely to run into somebody than most people because I'm thinking way more ahead of time.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right.
In that sense. But yeah, that's it. Circuit wise though, definitely I have no expectations. I've always accepted, any race that
Oh,
comes.
Nice. Yes,
So,
he has.
like, let's do it. Like,
Wow.
I
So
lose, still down to do it.
what was good too, when you said you'd race on the EXN, I'm happy in a sense because everyone's now suspension. You know what I mean? So to see that you guys, dude, I would rock. I would go EXN versus EXN, and we'll make it happen. We'll get together, make it work.
Pro or something. I'll bring out something else because the thing is about suspension versus non-suspension. It's not so much about the suspension; it's about the height of the pedals, which was another reason.
Right.
That for ABS it was mostly masters because the only way me and JR were able to even fare well on those tracks was by angling our pedals crazy. Like we had them at a point that you wouldn't want to ride that. And so these are scraped, but that's at like an angle like this. Like that's
a serious angle.
It's pretty higher than that at the track. So I think that if you're gonna choose a suspension wheel, let me know because then it'll be a whole different ball game.
Most likely it's gonna be the EX30 because I would have to get the EXN fixed ahead of time.
EX30 I'm not that scared about though because it's super low. It's super low to the ground. I don't really think there's much of an advantage there.
Right.
EX versus an EXN. So I'd be willing to do that too.
Okay. All right. Now, Stride. Your back was up on the ropes now, man. You got to fight yourself off the ropes. 30 seconds less. What's your game plan? You already said you're going to rock the EX30. What are you going to do different that kept cycling through your head from the first loss? What are you going to do different? What's your plan?
Right. So honestly, my first plan is going to be very different than the first because my first plan when I met him or raced him the first time was to follow him until I figured out where I was going. But there's no traffic involved. There's no cars. I think he's going to be at a huge disadvantage. I'm sorry, Sam, but I mean, he said it himself. He does not ride the beeps. I ride the beeps. And to his point, that doesn't necessarily mean much on a track because like you've said before, riding the lines is what gets you where you want to go faster. But the advantage I have now is that I get to know the track ahead of time. So the idea of the Blitz is we don't like side swipe each other. You get to experience the track first. So I'm definitely gonna take my time in learning the track, learning the corners, learning where I can accelerate, where I can brake. You know what I mean?
Right.
And see where I can put the EX30 in its at the best advantage speed wise because he's not a beep rider. And the fact that he just said that, it just gave it up. Unless I make a massive mistake, like the wheel cuts out or I turn too hard and I get caught by like that ridiculous tire that I have right now. I don't think Sam just stand the chance, to be honest, because
wow. This is awesome.
And it's funny. That's what I like about him. He doesn't talk. You see how he's smiling and smirking right now,
dude. I'm going to interrupt you for a second. This is awesome because to me, it's like Sam polished finesse rider. You know what I mean?
He's finesse.
Very.
I'll give him that. I'll give him that. He's
very
a smooth
finesse,
guy.
but he can scoot. Stride, when I look at you, I see a power rider. Not saying that you don't have finesse, but you're
not like him. I'm not like him. I'll admit that finesse. Yeah. I'll give that to him for sure.
Exactly, dude.
Sure.
So this is a perfect matchup. It's a perfect matchup, man, because anything can happen. And I'm dude. Right now, I'm staying neutral like Switzerland, baby. I'm staying right in the middle because this is going to be a battle. I think it's going to be one of the better races, man. So I'm looking forward to this. And we just have to get together and lay down a course that everyone agrees with. You know?
But let me ask Sam a question though. Sam, I mean, honestly, deep down inside, your wheel does a maximum of maybe 48, maybe 50 miles an hour, right? My wheel, I mean, it's not an issue, dude. Like going 50 miles an hour, it doesn't even beep. It beeps at like 53. I mean, do you really think you have a chance with the EX30 though?
I mean, we're not racing in a straight line. Like
That's okay.
like top speed is not a thing. it doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
The only way that a torque would matter, the fact that you have a 134 volt C40 motor, that's a different story. That's your advantage. It's not the fact that you go faster.
Okay.
Because by the time you would hit that speed, you'd have to prepare for a turn. And here, it's at that point, again, slow and steady wins the race on that end. I would say more so the fact that you can lean on your wheel, push it, get off of a turn or start, way faster. That would be where your advantage lies. And who knows? I mean, at that point, it's something for me to consider based on the track, like whether I bring this out or if I pull out a Master or a Commander Pro.
Oof.
I wouldn't pull out an EX30. I'm not a fan of the wheel. But what's it called? But yeah, Commander Pro or Master or Commander Mini. I have a couple coming into the shop this week, so you could also see me out there with that, and that would change a lot there too.
Right.
Just from the takeoff. For me, it's really more about the takeoff than it is about the top end. Because by the time you reach, if we're doing it in where I'm at, there's a road where you could reach like 45-ish. But by the time you get there, let's say that I put the next, say we put the next turn immediately at the end of that block, that like you wouldn't want to be at 45 by the time you get there. So there's that, and it's, I think that's the biggest thing about when people, this is not about you, other people from other places who are not familiar with New York, and they go, oh, you guys think you're fast, but like we ride at 55 all the time. It's like, you'll never have the opportunity to touch more than like 45, 48 in a city race. Like the day that we raced, I think my wheel only went 43, like at the top.
Yeah, it wasn't that much more either.
Yeah. And so I'm like, and that's what at a certain point with the road open to myself, there's nobody behind me. But how you call it? Yeah, no, I think it's a whole different ball game as far as that goes.
How many rounds would you think? Because we do rounds too in the Blitz.
Yeah.
And between rounds, you can take a break, adjust your wheel, take a break, drink a water break, whatever.
Are we doing like what is it called? There's circuit, which is like more than one lap, and then there's whatever the other one would be, which is like point A to point B.
That's like a drag. That's a drag.
Well, no, drag is in a straight line.
Almost like I think Sam's talking about like a stage race. Almost like point A to point, almost like a rally stage.
Oh, okay.
Like from point A to point B.
Oh,
we can do
okay.
in a circle.
But it has turns.
Right. It has turns. It's just from you're not coming back to the finish. You're basically, you set one point to start and another point to finish, and then the circuit is it completes. Yeah,
right. But still with that, you can still set rounds.
Oh yeah, you can get maybe best out of 3 or something like that, or
something like that.
Are we doing like one lap essentially, or are we doing more than one lap in each round?
Right. Well, one lap in each round.
Oh, so then I would say maybe, and it's the same track every time?
It's the same track.
I would do at least 2 laps.
At least 2 laps?
Yeah, I would do at least
I see
2.
what you're saying.
Yeah, I would do at least 2, maybe 3 laps on the track. That way you guys have time to make your moves and set each other up. I think that would make for a better race if you're doing a circuit anyway.
I like the idea of 3, and then let's say it truly is a blowout, like a certain point where we go, okay, like that's like there's no catching up here, like because there is a certain point where there is no
just shut it down.
Yeah. So I would say 3 laps with that type of gap, closer, and then what's it called? A gap closer, and then if we're gonna do 3 laps, I think 3 rounds is fine.
That would be cool too. We could actually mix it up.
2 out of 3. Like if it's 2 out of 2 already, then that's it.
Right.
2 out of 2.
2 out of 3, and then 2 out of 3. If someone already got the 2, then just close it down.
That's it. Bonus for a fastest lap, maybe.
Yeah,
doing a fast lap or something.
Or whatever, like however we want to test it.
Yeah, dude.
Finish line, make it simple.
Yeah. I think it's all about the track. I think that to make it a balanced thing where it's not just a drag race, where it's about what wheel has the highest torque and highest top speed, I think that we would have to consider the types of turns and the how many turns and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
going more than one block without turning. Are we never going more than one block without turning?
And we can cone it up too. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
we
I have
need
cones.
turns. We need turns.
We definitely got to add turns in. We got to put the turns. Yeah.
Because that at that point, like you're right in the sense that if we're going long straight things without ever turning,
Now we got to add the turns.
so and so yeah, I think that's that.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah.
The stage is set. Wait.
They just said.
Hold on a second. What's that? What's that, John? Racing for pinks? Wheel slips? Is that? Why, hey man, loser house. Loser has to walk home, man.
I'll ride through the city for pinks, but I won't.
Oh, that's gonna have to be a different day.
Nah, dude.
It's a different day.
Dude, I would have no wheels left, man. I'd be wheelless.
If we do the city, if we ride through the city, that's gonna have to be for slips. Yeah,
that would be actually a cool race if we could get a company to like donate a wheel. If the Goat or In Motion would donate a wheel to the winner, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. Never.
But yeah. So far so good. So now the goal is you're gonna scope out the track, right? And just if you could just send me when you get a chance on Google Maps where you think it's gonna be. That way I could, set it up as an event, and then I could come here next week, run it through several times. Maybe I'll come early in the morning or something, set it up,
Where were the places that you were thinking about again? I know where I'm thinking of. Where were you thinking about?
I was thinking more like Pier 76, because you go down, you go up, you go down, you go up, and then you come back again. And then there's another place in, it's kind of far. It's like Long Island. So I don't know New York like that. That's probably the only two places I know.
The other thing I was thinking again, it's late night. They still
that's right. They
still have the New York summer streets going on. They closed down the roads, or Park Ave is closed from like 1/10 all the way down to the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah.
Park Avenue on both sides. And the 230 MetLife loop. You go up underneath the MetLife, shoot down the backside.
Under the bridge.
Yeah.
Under the tunnel. That tunnel.
That tunnel,
that tunnel
you need to go down into the tunnel.
Out, that's where the finish line would be.
Right. Or what you could do is you could come around and just make that turn and shoot back up the other side.
Right.
Race down the back end, take the chicane, turn down, and come blowing out on 46 and at the finish line at 47. That's another.
But it'll
be
straight the whole time.
You think it's too straight, right?
You figure out some turns. I mean, you guys know New York.
Yeah, we would have to turn, because otherwise then it's just a straight line.
Just too straight, right?
Straight. Yeah, exactly. Make it.
Because it just has those U-turns down at the you know what it's saying, those U-turns down toward the bottom, unless we cone it out a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah, my area is, put it this way, there's car races that take place. We won't say that they're legal or not legal. So if they could do that there, I don't see why we would do it
exactly.
for us. I think we could set up something there. Time of day be my biggest concern because of local traffic or whatever. It's not a lot. There's no through traffic. It's all like people who work there. So it would just be something like that where we would have to figure that out. There's enough streets and turns where
you gotta go, Sensei. That's fine.
Almost.
Because
we're gonna worst case scenario, anyway. Dude. There's always a bunch of open lots over here in Jersey.
Right.
Empty lots, dude.
Yes.
Right.
That is true.
I have cones. Stride, you have cones.
Yes, I do.
And we could set up a track.
We just need a spot, dude. We just need a spot. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think that's fine too. And if we're looking for an open lot and we want to put it in the city, then we can also just put it in Randall's Island potentially.
Okay, that'll work.
Lot there that we were doing. I was there once. I won't even claim the thing of that, but they were hosting like the intro to speed stuff there, where they set up the cones and they would ride, and we were only using like a fraction of the space, and that was a pretty decent track.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
That's possible. We could do that too, actually.
Yeah. Send me that, dude. I think it's great. I'll try to create a promo for this, but I'm ready to take him on. I need to get back to be honest, it was traffic. I didn't think I was going to win. I wanted to win, But when I saw the big traffic ahead, you should have heard it in the video. I got scared. I was like, "What the frick is this?" Like,
So funny.
Dude,
I was
that's
like,
New York, dude.
but I knew you were following me, so I was just like, oh, we're gonna have some fun now. Like going up 6 because we set that. We set like, oh, we have to go up 6. I'm like, well, however we get up there, we're gonna go. But it was like free for all back. I'm like, bro, you gonna follow me? No problem. I'm gonna take you for a ride. We're gonna go down 7.
he tricked me. He tricked me because I was following him, and then I don't know what happened, but I
don't know if I ever told you. Like, I guess we never really had a follow up. So at some point, I was like, I'm gonna take him down 7 because I know traffic's gonna be nuts. Right, that was number 1. So I was like, I'm gonna take it down there, and then once I lose it, I'm gonna turn off and go wherever. That's exactly right. So at some point, I looked back, I didn't see you. I was like, oh, it's time to go take the easy way, right? Like I dipped off of 7. But what was really happening was that I was kind of timing everything. At some point, I started seeing the lights turn yellow by the time I was getting to them. Like, perfect.
Okay, so, that's what happened. Because
the fact that you ended up was more like, I mean, like you should have looked out, but I knew those gaps were closing the minute I took it. So I'm gonna go, and people are gonna cross, and if you're not there, you
that's exactly what happened.
Dude, that is so true.
That's the bad part about following someone, man.
You got to be right in on them.
That was the other thing too. I don't know if I mentioned that to you, but I was like, the only reason you were really able to follow my gaps is because I was on the Monster Pro.
Right. I
was taking huge gaps because the wheel is massive, and so it's like it's massive. It doesn't respond super fast, and as much as I can like swerve it through, it was still super wide. The EXN is a whole another beast, though. That's why
that's true.
We could run this back on the Nikola. Like I was even fine back on the Nikola at that time. Because I was like, that's a whole different ball game. The way I move on this and the other wheel is a whole nother.
Gentlemen, I'm gonna have to run.
Yes, that's fine.
Appreciate you guys. Hey, we'll be in touch, Sam. You got all my info, so we'll crisscross this up and dot all the I's and cross the T's and make this happen.
Oh, yeah,
he has guys. All right,
later, bro. Yeah, Sam. So that's pretty wild. Yeah, that was a great it was a great race. It taught me a lot. Having a plan on paper and executing it is very different.
It's true. That is very true. Yeah. At some point I was like, okay. And then I watched the video and I was like, nah, yeah. Literally, like you could see the gaps.
Literally.
So, what? Just they like, and I was just like, yeah. It was crazy because I really didn't know what happened to you until you like mentioned it, and then when I realized that was where you got caught. I was like, that's crazy because that's where I was aiming. Like,
that's where you were planning on losing me?
That light turned yellow. I was like, oh, it's over. Like the people are across. He's he's behind that. He's going to have to figure this one out. And I think I think you took the lane to the left of me, which was even worse. Like,
Give me no time. Give me no time at all.
And I was like, nah, I got this. This is all good. And I think, I'll share like some secrets. I think that like, a lot of people are much more risk, like they'll go for the risk, they'll ride a certain way. And so a lot of those people have a chance of, beating me in traffic because it's like, I'm not trying to hurt myself. 2, I'm not trying to hit a car. 3, I'm not trying to hit anyone else.
Right.
Some people will take a gap knowing that they're either knowing or being unaware that there is a potential danger there. And I won't. And I think that that truly would hold me back versus somebody who doesn't care, about and what's it called? So there is a reason that I ride the way that I ride, because some people will look at it and go, he makes a lot of right? He makes a lot of mistakes, right? It'll be like, oh, like, why is he turning here? Like, why is he shifting lanes? And it's like, it's because I'm seeing the potential of like what could happen there. And there's a lot of chances that it doesn't. But there's also like way more often when I am riding that it happens exactly how I thought. And I go, I'm really glad I didn't go to that spot right there.
Right.
And so I'll just continue to ride like that because I'd rather stay safe and enjoy. I get a lot of flack for things like helmets and all that other stuff. And people are absolutely right. I should wear a helmet. But it's like I have a crazy sense of awareness when I can hear completely because that's part of what I'm using. I'm using my ears. And I'm also able to see like at a glance. With
no blind spots.
You got to commit to like looking with no. I just get to go like that and I can already see like, you know, what's there and keep it moving. So if I could find some type of helmet that does the same, I know that the style that you wear is probably best for that, like the more motocross style helmet that's further away.
I have like no blind spots, dude.
Right.
But at the
so-
same time, it's not dot rated, so I use it sparingly. You know what I mean?
Right. I was actually looking for one, and you can't find them. Like they're super hard to DOT rated, like those style helmets. But hopefully,
Yeah, because the DOT ones usually cover. They have a lot of blind spot issues. They come up right where your eye is, and I don't like that, which is why I wear the motocross one or the. I don't know.
But yeah, that's part of my whole thing. It's just like being aware, seeing, hearing, because even just hearing simple things like the tires are like to knowing your surroundings, and you know, none of it is justification for not wearing a helmet. It's just like that's just my reason why.
That's you, yeah.
Wrong. That's just my reason why. And but if I'm but you'll notice like at ABS, one, because I was forced to, but two, I know there's a higher chance I'll push the limits because there's no cars.
Correct.
I'm definitely, you know, I throw the helmet on and I will. Like,
you actually went off track. There was one time you went off track. Remember?
I did. I think it was with the. Are you talking about while I was racing or with the Master Pro?
No, you were racing. You were racing.
Yeah. So what happened was
you didn't lose your spot, but you went off track.
It was one of those things where I looked instead of paying attention to where I was, and I started to go on to like it was like the yellow and black, the street, and I was just like, but what's crazy is for what I was talking about earlier, the right turns, right?
Mm-hmm.
I went off track there and still managed to like make that right turn.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. You didn't lose your spot.
I got in front. I actually got in front, if I'm not mistaken. Of the
wow!
Like next to me, and it was one of those things where I'm like, man, if this race was right turns alone, forget about it. Like this would be a whole nother game. Because turning left was really weird, and turning left on the EXN of all things was even more weird because it's imbalanced. So I had to literally change. Like I trained that day to learn how to like take a left turn. Like it was a whole different thing. The pedals were literally the number one factor. I think it was really just about not being able to get down low. And I'd been thinking about, I don't know if I'm gonna make it to ABS, but I'd been thinking about like, what would I take out there if I were to go this year? And Master is an option, but to me, I don't like the weight of it. I feel like it's too light, or at least the distribution makes it feel really light. Master Pro is way too heavy. EX30 is too low. And I'm also not a fan of the way that it rides. I feel like it rides more similar to a Sherman.
I would take the Master Pro.
I would either take a Master Pro, a Master X, or the Commander Pro. The Commander Pro is truly on the top of my list, along with the Extreme. I haven't felt the Extreme, so I have to see about that. But it would probably be if I had to choose one that's out already, probably the Commander Pro, because it has the higher pedals.
Right.
And has the power, it has the battery to allow me to go 3 laps without running out of battery.
The pedals are high, right?
They are higher. Yeah, not like, I think the Master Pro is probably the highest out of any, but they are higher than a traditional, you know, non-suspension wheel, static wheel. And then with the weight would be nice. Like it's turn, be planted, and get lower than like people.
It's kind of like your Monster, the profile, right?
Yeah, it's different, but I will say, so people will, you know, they'll put up the EX30 and the Commander Pro against each other, and they'll go, well, why one versus the other? One, I will say that the reason I don't like the EX30 is because it rides low like a Sherman. Like all of the weight is by your feet basically, and so the turn, it's more of a this as a
okay.
Like I'm used to more of a top heavy wheel where you kind of lean into the turn with it. So EXN, Nikola AR or 27 watt hour, the Monster Pro, even the Monster V3, which is what I started on, like all of those wheels you can lean into the turn with it. And the Commander Pro is the first. Master Pro is there, but it's super heavy, and you would have to ride it at like the highest pedal height. So the Commander Pro out of the box is to me, the suspension wheel that rides the most like a static wheel out of all of them. So like that's
So
why it's my favorite.
Have you
ones
tested
that I've-
the Master Pro yet? I mean, the Commander Pro. Sorry.
Yeah, I've ridden it like after swapping out people's tires and stuff like that,
Okay.
and instantly, like just taking it around the block, I was able to feel kind of the difference in the way that it turns. The EX30 almost immediately, I was like, oh no, I don't like this at all.
You don't like the EX30? Wow.
No. It takes off.
Why don't you like the EX30? Tell me. Is it because of your height?
It steers more from the bottom. No, I think it's the way that so you know that movement that you described as a snake movement?
Yeah.
Right. It's a flicking of the wheel. Like it's almost the equivalent of like a kick flip while riding type of thing, where I'm flicking the pedal in whatever direction. And that's what creates that like sharp, like, this movement to it. With the EX30, I don't feel like you don't, like I said, you don't turn like this. It feels more of like this way. So there's a way to do it, but in order for me to ride that way, it puts more strain on like the groin area.
Okay.
And then when you go to lean, wheel feels like it kind of just wants to stay straight up, and not because of the tires, because I've tried different tires. There's just something about the weight.
But what about the
distribution,
modes?
And I
though?
figured
What
that
about
out.
the modes? What modes were you trying it in? Because if you're in hard mode, you will get this kind of like horizontal turn.
I don't remember. I think I tried it on medium and hard. I don't know about soft, but I think I tried it on medium and hard. And then the other thing was I did try to like tight maneuver on it, and the battery case would touch the ground before the pedal does. So that was also like a scarier thing to.
Interesting.
And because it's just like, like I don't want to scrape the battery on the floor. Like that's not, that's not where you're turning from. So yeah, the Commander Pro was higher up, the EX30. So my best description to people, the Sherman S exists, as do the original Shermans and the EX30. To me, the Sherman S does not ride like a Sherman at all. It's a completely different wheel. I think that the EX30 is a true Sherman S in that sense, like with the way that the weight is distributed, the way that it rides.
That's an interesting point. The Sherman S is not like a Sherman, but the EX30 is a true Sherman
Yes.
S.
Yeah.
Explain that.
I think it's about the way that the weight is distributed. So if you look at a Sherman, the pedals are obviously on the bottom, as are the pedals with any wheel. But the batteries, if you were to slam, if you remove that roll cage from a Sherman and you were to slam that corner, you have about like this much room before the batteries like get hit. So the batteries are located, the weight of the wheel is closer to the base of the pedal versus almost any Gotway wheel, right? EXN batteries are horizontal. They're up top. There's a gap between the weight and the pedal. Monster Pro, same thing. AR Nicola, same thing. Even the Master Pro to some degree, because it has so much battery, right? It's like by the time you get all of the weight, that thing is all distributed up there. Yeah. Master, I think, is in between. Like I think the Master and the Sherman S ride very similarly in terms of the way that the weight is distributed. And the S22 is around there too, like in a similar category. So I think that, so people who are used to riding Shermans where the weight is more down low, where the turning feels more of like this turn, like heel toe works, but it's like this, I don't know how to describe it, but there's a difference in the way you carve on a Sherman versus most Gotway wheels. And then same thing with
the Sherman is low. It's kind of like the EXN.
Yeah, well, EXN is low, but the weight is up top. Like people confuse that sometimes too. They think I'm talking about the pedal height. And for me, it's like, no, not the pedal height. It's where the weight is in relation to the pedal. And so the Sherman weight is all the way at the bottom, and then the EX30 even more so. Not only is the weight at the bottom, the pedals actually start above the battery pack. So that's like a whole new feeling. Like the weight is below the pedal. And then and it could be a combination of where the weight is and how tall the wheel is, because the weight stops at a certain point and then you still have all of this room up here. That's where you maneuver from, depending on how you're turning.
Which wheel is that? Which wheel is that? Are you referring to?
The EX30.
The EX30. Okay. I don't know, man. Like I feel like the EX30 is well balanced. You're right though about the battery being so low because when I go to turn really hard, I freak out.
Yeah.
So I need to turn up the dihedral angle of the pedal. I
Yeah.
really wish I could fit the X-Men pedals on there. I can't, but
Why not?
I can't do it. It looks like I might have to file it down, like file in that a piece of it because it just won't fit.
Like the width is too tight.
Yeah, it won't fit. Yeah.
Okay, that is possible.
So I'm gonna have to find a way to adjust the angle of that pedal because you're right about the turning. It's kind of scary.
Yeah. That's my main thing about it. It was just the distribution of weight. I've ridden it. I've taken it through the city. It takes off. There's no doubt there.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's not comfortable for me to ride the way that I ride. So
Okay.
that's, as a shop owner, I think that's really where these perspectives come from. It's like, I want to be able to tell you based on what you tell me, which wheel is best for you. Like, I'm not a person to just sell you whatever, like I don't care to there's nothing, I don't have any particular investment with anything where I'm like, oh, I'm going to sell you this over this. Like, no, like I'm going to sell you what you feel, what is going to be the best for you. So if you ride
just so people know, this is iRides. Okay, this is his shop in NYC. Check it out, ai-rides.com. He does repairs, upgrades. He sells wheels, scooters, all kinds of things. So definitely, I'll put your contact in the comments once this is done. But definitely check him out if you're in NYC or if you're in Boston, because I'll be sending my wheel to.
I got you guys. I mean, for me, servicing wise, you just let me know wherever you from. As long as you get the wheel to the shop, I got you. If you're trying to purchase, I prefer local and on the East Coast in general, but that's more so again so I could keep that servicing side because I pride myself on the service end. It's like
Right.
Send you a wheel out in California.
Once again, back to your lifestyle thing.
Yeah. I could send you a wheel out in California, but I would rather be able to. I don't want to leave you out there. Here's a part, go fix it. I could send you a wheel, whatever. But it's at least if you're on the East Coast, shipping is not going to be particularly crazy. If you're in New York, you can literally just drop it off, that type of thing. But
Nice.
But so back to the wheels. For me, I'm more of a, people be like, oh, I'm looking for yesterday. Somebody called me, I think he was out in California actually. And he was just like, oh, like I'm looking at what's the difference between the S22 and the S22 Pro. I said, well, it depends on who you're getting it from. If most people at this point, the S22 is the S22 Pro because they've gotten the 4K motor, the supposed upgraded, motherboard, whatever, pretty much the same thing. I was like, but let me ask you, like, why the S22? And then they were just like, oh, like, I don't know, I just wanted something that'll be able to take me up hills. They've never ridden before. They've never, taken the race. They're like, I want something to take me up hills, has a good amount of power. The suspension would be nice. And I was like, okay, like, do you plan on doing any type of jumps and off-road? Because to me, that's the redeeming quality of the S22.
Right, 100%.
It is a superior, at least based on people who do that, it's the superior off-road wheel. So I was like, okay, well, like, are you doing any major jumps? And by off-road, I mean more jumps than actual off-road. So they were like, no, not really, like maybe here and there. And I was like, okay, well, based on what you're saying, if your true intention is to have power, like going up the hill, I'd ask you to consider things like the Master, the Commander Pro. There's 2 wheels coming out, the Commander Mini and the Extreme. I said, truly, I think that once the Extreme comes out, the S22 is losing its glory.
Because of that power, that torque.
Yeah,
Every person I've met who tried to torque the S22 complained that, number one, that wheel is not usable until they do a bunch of upgrades. And number two, the torque is still not there. And I was talking to a guy who weighed 135 pounds telling me this in Pennsylvania.
Right. Now imagine somebody at 220 or, whatever.
Exactly.
Whole different ball game. And so I was like, Extreme, especially the fact that I put and the air stock, it'll have a CNC chassis. It's going to have 134 volt C40 16-inch, which is unseen so far. The closest thing we have to that amount of power delivery is an MCM5.
MCM5, wow.
35
that was a great wheel.
With 14 inches, and the power on that wheel is ridiculous. So imagine that with a real wheel. Like MCM5 is cute, but you're not going nowhere with that wheel. Imagine that power delivery, So I was just telling him all of that stuff, and he was like, okay. Like by the end of the call, and I was like, or if you're just into looks, then hey, the S22 is kind of hard
That's
to
right.
beat.
It's a nice looking wheel, yeah.
Whatever you like, but I think by the conversation he understood. I'm here to get you what you want. I'm not here to sell you what I think you should have. The only thing I think the only wheel I ever really push people away from, and even then I go, well, if you like the looks, I can't do much there, is the Sherman S. And it's not because of anything.
Why is that?
Because it's I'm sure there's a lot of people who believe in the quality of Leaper Kim, and that's great. No knocks there, right? Like if you're like, oh, I want something that has a history of being reliable, it's like, well, if you scrub the Abrams from the face of the earth, then yes, Leaper Kim has a flawless track record. I can't fight you there. But as far as if you look at what's on the market, the Commander Pro not only costs less by most retailers, but it delivers everything that the Sherman S has and more, right? Like it has the same 20-inch tire, 3,600 watt hour.
They both have the same type of shock, right?
Similar shocks. One is oil, one is what I guess like hydraulic, but they're very similar. They don't. If you were to, one maybe feels a little more refined, but it's the type of differences that are like, maybe
superficial,
like $100,000 car and an $80,000 car.
Right. Yeah.
Really know what you're feeling. You're just like, I just want the best of the best. And so the suspension is very similar, especially if you're a street fighter. You're not getting all those benefits. Like any suspension better than it for the most part. And then you have the power delivery. I mean, it's a 100-volt wheel in a sea of 134-volt wheels. It's like, why not get the same wheel with more power? And a lot of people at first, the Commander, nobody knew that it was going to be a cast shell. They thought it was going to be plastic, like most Gotway wheels have been. And on top of that, it was a cast shell. So now the one redeeming quality about the Sherman S was like, oh, nice metal casing Commander Pro had. So I'm like,
wow, nice.
Honestly, there's not a lot there that I go, yeah, Sherman. With the style that I ride, the way that I ride, what I do, how I enjoy my wheels, I don't have a single reason to get the S over the Commander Pro, and most people don't, except for looks and what they think is reliability. And that's that. Like, and so it's no knock on the wheel. It's just like it's a solid wheel. And that's the other thing. Some people have a Sherman already.
Okay.
Right. And so even more is where I go, are you sure you want a Sherman S? Like, you literally won't be doing anything but getting a suspension.
Right.
Like if you want a true upgrade, at least get something that is going to make a difference. So for most people, if they're like, oh, I want to go from my Sherman to Sherman S, I'm like, either don't get any wheel or think of other ones. Like Commander Pro, whatever it is, like go for those. Or if you want a smaller wheel, because you already have range at that point, 36 miles an hour. And so
unless there may be just a cruiser who just needs suspension because of the bumps in the road.
Fine. Like I said, the Sherman S is really nice looking. It's super sleek. The suspension is nice. You'll get your range out of it. It's a 100-volt high-speed motor. So at that point, as long as if you're riding above 35 miles an hour, this is my theory on it. Yes, you will get more range than taking a 134-volt above 35 miles an hour. And if you're wondering why I say that, it's because high torque motors at 100 volts. This is just, again, it's theory. None of this is proof, but motors at 100 volts don't exceed 35 miles an hour without pushing, right? So the difference in consumption, it can't be below 35. If you're running a 134 volt at below 35 at high torque, you're not doing anything different than you would 100 volt below 35 at high torque. However, once you get above 35 with the high torque, that's where that 134 volts is good, because it's allowing you, with that same motor, it's allowing you to now go faster, higher.
Yeah.
Saying that. So that's why I say, yeah, the energy consumption is probably more. So if you're doing a Sherman S, then it's like, okay, well, how fast do you plan on riding? How far do you plan on going? In that case, yeah, maybe you want something that's not going to pull as much power to do something simple like 40 miles an hour. And it'll probably beat it there in that sense. So that's my theory on that. So a lot of people think that just simply because it's 134 volt, it'll consume more power. I'm like, I don't think it's the 134 volt. If anything, it's the high torque motor doing more than it did at 100 volts.
At 100 volts.
With 134 volts. So
pretty cool. Valuable information for people who are curious.
Yeah.
But yeah. So hey, now that's it. That's it for the live, man. I appreciate you coming on. Now I'm just gonna do my laps. I have my own track in my backyard. It's not my backyard. It's the gym I go to behind.
Yeah,
They have
yeah,
an
yeah.
awesome track, and I'll just go practice there. I'll put some videos on EUC Blitz to show people what I'll be practicing.
Okay.
But my goal is to come down next week. Yeah, next week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I don't know, one of those days, maybe 2 days. But I'll let you know ahead of time.
Okay.
And we'll just knock it out and do it.
Okay. Are we gonna be racing that day, or are we trying to like plan out the track? Or
Well, the thing is, it's a blitz, so I'll set it up as an event on Facebook.
okay.
Okay, and then we'll see how many people are willing to go. If at the end of the day it's just you and me, then I could spend some time in that day getting used to that track,
Okay.
and then later in the day just bang it out.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I for those who may not have caught it because I didn't catch it. Can you define it a little more? Like, what's your intention with the blitz? What do you mean by blitz? Because I have a definition in my mind, but I would like to know what you mean by it.
Right. Blitz. So I've said it on the side, but basically EUC, and I usually start up the live that way, but I didn't this time because of my technical issues. But EUC Blitz is basically where two riders come together to compete.
Okay.
On equivalent wheels. It's not like you're gonna ride an M10 and unless the track is set up for that, where there's no crazy advantage or disadvantage for either rider.
Right.
But the goal of the Blitz is to really compete between two riders with equivalent styles or skills, and that's it. Now, at the end of those Blitz, after like 12 Blitz in the year, we're gonna have a final. It's called the Ultimate Rider Championship, where all the Blitz riders and anyone else who's involved who wants to participate come and race. But it's still it's going to be like a fight card where it's 2-on-2, and then at the final fight card, everybody race.
Okay.
So that sort of thing.
Dope.
Yep. Same setup as boxing. Same setup as UFC.
Yeah.
Just for EUCs.
Yeah.
And there will be prizes. Make it worthwhile for people, but can't mention what those prizes are right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Say it again. You're breaking up.
No, I'm saying now I'm looking at the comments now. I haven't seen any of them. I just for a moment.
Yeah. Yeah. We start. So usually I do lives at night.
Yeah.
But I'm at my mother's spot right now, so I can't really do it at night. So most of the people who come, are not here. So
yeah. What's up, everybody? Though I see you comment. What's up, vibes? What's up, everyone? Yeah, you asked the Sherman S comment. I think like my answer. Some vibes asked the Commander Pro suspension as good as the Sherman S. My answer to that is that they're just ignorable. Like, I think the differences between them are ignorable. I would objectively say, yeah, the Sherman S suspension is better. But as far as, better to a person who's not a stickler for things, I don't think they make it. I think it's super similar. Vibe said racing on a ship. That's funny.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Someone from Poland is saying still rolling on his 16X. Nice. That's a great wheel, by the way.
I want King Song to update their wheels to 100 volt. Like, I don't care for the S19. I want them to do an 18XL 100 and a 16X 100 volt. That's what I want.
What do you want?
16X and 18XL 100 volt. That's what I want.
Yeah, these are the most two popular wheels they have, dude.
Bro, it's like they're doing the S19, the S22.
Yeah, but they're not doing anything with the wheels that are giving them money right now.
You have two solid ass wheels. They're solid. The only reason that I ride one is because they don't go above 30 miles an hour.
Right.
Like, those are solid wheels. It has one of the best handles in the industry.
Right. Literally.
Like, it's just so convenient. They're sleek. They're nice. Like, I've spoken with them, and I'm like, you need to do 100 volt 16X and 18XL. Like, you know, S19, that's cute. I really hate the S18 platform in general, so I have a bias towards that. But I'm like, yo, do the 100-volt like 18XL, 16X, and I say that because right now, with Gotway discontinuing the Nikola,
Oh, they
discontinuing
are.
the
Wow.
XN, huh?
They are discontinuing the Nikola.
According to like what I've heard from them, what I've heard from other
Plus,
distributors.
I haven't heard anything new about that wheel. So
yeah, so they're discontinuing the Nikola, discontinuing the EXN. The Tesla is now a big ass suspension wheel. You know, like there's a lot of things that have been discontinued. There is not, the V12 is really the only wheel. The V12 and the V10, depending on your speed limits, right? Are the only wheels that I can think of right now, other than the 16S and 18XL, that are solid one-time buy wheels. You know, for people who are looking to start on a wheel, learn on that wheel, and potentially keep that wheel from here
for
on
a
out,
long time, yeah,
without having to buy like, you know, $500 worth of fairy kits and, you know, whatever else. Like, you're not gonna, like, you can learn on a Sherman S, you can learn on a well, I guess Sherman S and Commander Pro would be decently built wheels that could probably take a beating if those were your first, but those are huge, you know, like those are that's also not the ideal for someone who's starting. I would say V12 is probably the only, you know, one and done wheel, and I'm not the biggest fan of the V12, but objectively speaking, it's one of the only one and done wheels left on the market, where it's relatively water resistant. It's 16 inch, you know, nimble. It goes at least 40 miles an hour, or, you know, up to 40 miles an hour. The range is decent. You know, it's a mid-range wheel. It's one of the only ones left. The V10 is close, but it doesn't go that fast. 18XL and 16X are the other ones, but they also only go 30. So if you're talking about like not outgrowing it within a month, because
exactly. These are. It's funny because when new riders ask for like suggestions, most people don't go back to those old wheels, but these old wheels are very solid.
Yeah, and I think for anyone who ends up with the bug, you know, they do end up saying like 30 miles an hour is just a little bit too slow. Like, I think 40 is sufficient for most people.
Agreed.
But 30 is like, especially if you're riding in a city where the speed limit is 25, which means people are going 35, it's like you need a little bit more than that 30. So that's why I say 100-volt 18XL, 100-volt 16X would be like a super commuter. Like, that would be the wheel that I'd be like, you haven't learned how to ride? This is the one you want. This is the wheel.
Devo is saying he's never ridden the Sherman S, but he's loving his Commander Pro, and that's what I've been hearing. A lot of people. I remember when the Commander Pro. What's up?
Slept on. No, it's a super slept on wheel. I think that, unfortunately, you know, without inserting personal opinion, you know, the EV's review was not a positive one.
You're not the first person that said that, yeah.
Right, and so it's one of those things where I think that was one of the first things put out there. So everybody's looking at, you know, comments about spaghetti wires and this and that, and I'm like, if you ever opened up any wheel, like most of these wheels look like that. That's number one.
Especially a big goat. Especially a big
goat. So it's like, well, now if you're setting an unreasonably high expectation, okay, or maybe not unreasonable, but it's there's no competition in the industry in that sense, right? Like, most of the wheels on the inside look like this, and the Commander Pro also has more than most wheels have. It has a speaker, it has a double headlight, it has it has the battery stuff, it has you know what, like, it has things that other wheels don't, and so of course there's going to be more wires everywhere. It has the display up top, it has the charge port up top, it has a bunch of things. So it's like there's going to be spaghetti wires. That's kind of normal. Just organize them, if anything. They should have came better, you know, maybe better organized from the factory. But so it's, people saw the knock on quality and immediately wrote off the Commander Pro. But then all I got to do is tell people to refer to I refer people to like the Chance videos on the Commander Pro, or any rider on a Commander
Don
Pro.
Champion.
They go, oh shit, bro, this wheel is a whole. I'm like, like, don't, you know, and again, I don't know why that review was put. If that was just an honest review, hey, it is what it is. But I know that they didn't sell the Commander Pro, so I don't know if it was something there. But it's just one of those things where that was a review on the wheel as a piece of technology. Which
Devo
is,
says no regrets on his purchase of the Commander Pro.
yo, everybody that I know, everybody that I've put on a Commander Pro, and I go, try it. What you've heard, try it. They get on the wheel and they either go, fuck, I'm getting this next, or fuck, I wish I didn't get that thing that I'm currently riding. You know, they're like, I should have got this. And that's almost everybody that I've you know, and there's been a couple people that they want the Sherman S. I'm like, yo, look at the Commander Pro, think about it. They get it and they're like, yo, bro, I'm so glad you told me to get the Commander Pro, blah blah blah. Like, and there's been some things where there's some issues that seem to be occurring with it here and there, unknown really as to why they're happening. But it's to be expected with almost any wheel, unfortunately. It's not a mass issue like the V12 or the Abrams or whatever, but it is concerning enough to be like, okay, maybe I want to hold off on selling them until these things are addressed.
Brave Dave, I guess you know this guy. He says, my V12 high torque tire you replace is still running well. Thanks, Sam. BX, stand up.
Brave Dave, I probably know you by your real name as opposed to Dave, so you are welcome. But
EUC Vibe says, rest in peace, Sherman S.
Hey, the Sherman S, like I said, is a good wheel, it's a good cruiser. Like, there's not a knock to that. It's just the Commander Pro is really, it is a beast of a wheel. Like, it has the power delivery. You can see Chance, like, before he got the Extreme, that was like his shit. He was like, yeah, Commander Pro is
right
where it's at.
Even Chance gave the original S22 before I blew it up. Dude, everything he said happened when it was observed after it blew up, because he mentioned there were some issues with the strips, the nickel strips. He was like, they got to fix that, because I guess when he opened it, he saw like there were certain burnt marks. And he was like, this is not strong enough, because he does some crazy off-roading, dude. And he was comparing it with like his RS and some other wheels, the T4 and the Master. And then he looked at it as like, wow, this is cheap. Like, if they don't fix this thing is going to blow up. And that's exactly what happened in my case, because several people tested it before me. I probably just brought it to its last.
Yeah.
So he was right on. He was right on with that.
Yeah, it's interesting because I remember when it first happened, I was like, that's a Hall sensor. Like, I'm looking at the wheel, like, you know, shaking on the floor in the video. And I'm like, that wheel failed. Like, there's something wrong with the motor.
Yeah, something wrong with it, yeah.
And then it blew up. So, you know, there's no way of it out. But it's just interesting, though, because, yeah, if there was anyone to kind of make the motor slip, it would be someone like you who does heavily push on the pads and will push a wheel beyond your normal, you know, just like, I'm just, you know, riding, carving, whatever. Like,
normal stuff.
Point where something could slip, and clearly it did, and that's
EUC Vibe said Extreme looks sick with the spring option combined with the middle tube over sliders. Maybe the best suspension yet. Yeah,
I'm super excited for the Extreme. I'm getting the Extreme. Like, that's a
Chance wheel. Chance, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. That's hands down my next wheel. I didn't pull the trigger on the Master. I got the Master Pro, and it's a wonderful wheel. I barely use it because it's huge. And so I ended up selling that recently. Commander Pro is on my list, and the Extreme is on my list. Like,
why do you want the Extreme? It doesn't have the range.
But it'll be a racer. It'll be a little power wheel.
So basically, it's like the Master for you.
It's like the EXN.
Oh, really?
Like what I use my EXN for would be what I will now use probably the Extreme for.
Okay.
Other than the grounded feeling, I mean, it's hard to get away from that, like, low rider, grounded, no suspension feeling. I think going from suspension EUC, like, you know, non-suspension EUCs to suspension EUC, I can now look at the dudes who, I mean, most of these people are not racing, so they're really just doing it to modify. But I can now understand why people may prefer such drop-down cars for the sake of, like, you know, racing and stuff like that, because there's a connection with the ground that you're just like, yeah, I feel in control with this.
Yeah.
So I have a whole new respect for that, and it gives me a new respect for the wheels that we already had, because that's
like, interesting.
There's
another guy that agrees with you. What's his name? He's upstate New York. Flip. His name is Flip. I couldn't understand what he was saying when he kind of berated suspension wheels. He was like, the non-suspension wheels are just more fun. I didn't know what he was saying, but now I guess it makes sense. You're more attached to the ground, because even with the EX30, I want the suspension tight. I don't want all this. I want to feel the road. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. To me, I wish the EX was a more successful wheel, because I think that the EX is exactly the amount of suspension I need. Like for me, I just want something that takes that bite off. And imagine nowadays 134 volt EX, C40 motor, that's suspension with the body of an EX. Like that would be a beast of a wheel. And I like, for me, I wish that was more successful. It was scary as shit. I mean, 1,000 PSI. I don't not
because it was so small. That's why they needed to put so much.
Yeah. So it is scary, but it was one of those things where like that's the type of suspension I want. I just want a little fucking whatever 20 millimeter suspension is good enough for me. But I know that there's a lot of people who do it recreationally. Like they're off-roading.
That's what they do. I didn't even know people love the off-roading like that, dude.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Well, I like it. Don't get me wrong. I don't really have it out here, and I like it being intact. So there's that. But I think that once you get a taste of like being able to, you maneuver different when the ground is not the concrete. It's like it's a whole other, or asphalt rather. It's
8 Mil says, I'd like to see the Commander Pro with a C40 motor.
Oh hell yeah, that would be amazing.
That'd be amazing.
Be a beast of a wheel. That's the only thing that I go, fuck. That's actually why I take the Extreme over the Commander Mini, because I actually wanted the Commander Mini originally, and then the Extreme was announced with a C40, and I was like, oof, I can't pass up on a C40 though. 16-inch C40, like I'll be able to lean like JR and call it a day. Maybe for once you'll see me do a U-stride and just like be like this with the wheel and shit. But
do you recommend upgrading the EX30 with the new firmware?
The pedal, I mean, that's all about how you like to ride. From what I understand, it removes the pedal dip. I am a fan of pedal dip. So I think it's all about like your. I like it the way it rides right now. Yeah. I think that for something like the thing is that I just think the EX30 is too low for it to even matter. I think that like time your pedal would touch the ground from dipping, your battery would touch the ground from dipping. So I think race mode is a good idea for a lot of wheels. I'm not sure if it makes much of a difference on the EX30. Or if it, I mean, a lot of people have been saying that they like it though. Like, I can't knock what the public is saying. If they feel a difference, I know a lot of people are fans of stiff pedals, but New York is a stickler for their soft modes and their heel toe riding and whatever. So for me, it's like, I'm not as much of a stickler for it. I'm not as much of a soft mode snob or whatever, but I do value the feeling of dipping when turning. There's something very natural about that feeling of like,
I've never had a problem with that. Maybe with the EXN, the EXN I had an issue with that because it was already low. The EX30 is not as bad in terms of the dip, so I'm not really.
I like.
If I could just,
So, but
but once you could turn up the pedals, dude. Once you could angle it a little better, it goes away. So
I'm still.
So man.
Rides pedals. This is
No, I love these pedals. I love these pedals.
So nice. For me, it's nice for racing. Like I don't think they're great for long distance. Not with the right. I think it's a bit uncomfortable for that, but for control, like they're there for sure.
Let me see what this last comment says. Aviation grade says, I have no idea what my next will be. At this point, all I know is it will be 134 volt, at least 3,500 watts, and have suspension.
That's a lot of wheels
right now. That's a lot of wheels right now.
Yeah. I mean, like I said to you tried earlier, I think aviation grade. Not sure if you're local or even if you're not, feel free to hit me up. But I think it's all about what you're looking for. If I could put it into very simple terms, if you're looking at 134 volt, that means you're only looking at Godway wheels anyways, right?
Right.
So we can start from the smallest. We'll go extreme. If you're looking extreme versus master, the only reason I would ever go with a master over an extreme is literally because of the tire size, which most people, like some people say it's more stable. That's that. Otherwise, the extreme is also the master on track. Like it's the perfected master from the CNC chassis,
Right.
40
Yeah.
motor, like
To the handle.
be there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfected master. So I'd say extreme wins there, no matter what you think the master is doing. But then from there, you have EX30, Commander Pro, and Master Pro. And I think those are all such different wheels that it would be based on what your experience is. I don't know what your previous wheel aviation grade was. I don't know if you caught earlier, but if your previous wheel happened to be a Sherman, the EX30 is probably going to be something that you'll enjoy the way that it feels. If you genuinely enjoy the way the Sherman rides. Commander Pro is more of I'd say it rides weight-wise, the distribution, it rides more similar to traditional Gotway wheels, EXN, Nikola AR, Monster V3, Monster Pro. It's more top-heavy. And then you have the Master Pro is just a fucking beast of a wheel. Like
I love that wheel.
Huge. It's super heavy. It's enjoyable. Like enjoyable as fuck. 22 inches with suspension. I don't care how shitty the suspension is. It's still amazing.
I love that wheel. I'm pretty surprised that I love such a big wheel.
It is so nice and it's so plush, and you can maneuver it if you set it the way.
Yeah.
So I would say, truly the answer of the Master Pro is if you want a true upgrade to any wheel on the market, the Master Pro is the only wheel that has more than anything else. It has more battery, pretty much a higher top speed than everything. The motor is, I think 3,500 watts or whatever, which is significantly.
The other thing I hate is it squeaks so much. You know what I mean? Yeah, when you're riding, all you hear is squeak, squeak, squeak everywhere. I'm like, wow, why is this thing squeaking so much?
Yeah. Okay.
I might have to tighten it up or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's I would only go for that if you're truly just looking for the most everything. At this point, other than the Monster Pro, basically the biggest tire, the biggest battery, the highest speed, whatever. That would be the answer there. So, and if you're debating between EX30 and Commander Pro, just understand that the main difference is the way that the weight is distributed and how it rides. So I'd say that would be one of those where you would want to have somebody let you try it for a moment just so you can get a feel from it and you'll instantly feel the difference. But other than that, spec-wise, they're pretty much the same for most people. Those nuances between them are not the same. And then Sherman S and Commander Pro, I know they're compared a lot, pretty much just because they look the same. But even from here, you can see 55 mile an hour, 45 mile. And that's because despite high speed mode, it doesn't change the
motor is stronger too on the Commander Pro, 3,500.
Yeah, it's like
watts, sorry.
It, but just because you unlock a higher speed doesn't change what the wheel is. It's not all of a sudden a more powerful wheel. It's still a Sherman. Whatever a Sherman can do is pretty much what the Sherman S is doing, maybe a little bit more. And then the Commander as a whole, like a Master and a Sherman have never been compared and said, oh, pretty much the same wheel. Commander Pro is essentially the Master Pro. Like it's a Master in the way that it is distributed weight-wise, and it just has more battery. It has the same.
And it has a shell.
And that's, I think, that's the real defining factor and that are outside of the specs is like, do you want a shell or do you want an exoskeleton? Like, what's your preferred?
So yeah. I was gonna ask you something. I forgot what it was. Anyway, yeah. So.
Master Pro squeaking, or I don't know.
I don't remember. Damn, I forgot. But it's cool though, Sam. So now I'm just gonna. Has anyone? Let me see. Devo is saying, has anyone, Sam or Ustride, have tried the new no dip firmware? He was just talking about it.
Yeah, I haven't tried it.
I haven't tried it either.
Yeah.
I like the way the wheel feels right now. So
I mean, I trust the words. Like, there's some people have like placebo. That's absolutely true. Some people be like, oh, it's better because they think it's better. But I think there's enough riders out there that go, oh man, like this feels so much better on the turns. So for most of those people, like, see my UC journey, no dip software is solid, perfect for riders who. See, I don't know what that means though. Who like the Begode feel?
Because the Begode feel is prior to that.
Yeah,
I would say.
EUC journey, if you can clarify that, because the Begode feel is pedal dip. Every other
Right.
company doesn't have pedal dip. King
Right.
Song in motion is only dippy if you allow it to be, based on the way you program it. So Begode is a dippier.
It's a dip. It's been dipping since my
Yeah.
Tesla. That thing's been dipping.
Begode got the dip.
Yeah. Nice.
So yeah, I would say the no dip would turn it more into a King Song feel.
Right.
It's like
Yeah.
flat.
Yeah, I remember the first time I rode a King Song, I made a video on it. I hated that. Like I couldn't dip. It was just pure solid. No matter which mode I chose, it was
And
like
if reverse.
yeah, I'm like, dude, it drove me nuts.
Reverse dip where you go to the turn, like
Oh my gosh. I was like, whoa, I can't do this. I can't do this. The
Yeah.
only King Song wheel I ever liked was the 16X. That felt like a Begode to me.
18XL was my favorite, bro. 18XL was my favorite wheel. I just liked the 18-inch wheel, the way the handle came up, the sleekness of it. It felt super smooth.
Yeah.
The pedals were nice, and oh, that was the other thing. My thing about 16X versus the 18XL is where it lands on the leg. The 18XL was more comfortable for me. The 16X was lower, kind of like how the EXN is. Only way I'm able to ride the EXN is because I have like these cushions. Like,
So do you plan on racing with that type of pad?
Yeah, I don't use pads for the sake of pads. I
Interesting.
use like they're on here not because this is not. There's no torque here. It's just cushion. That's the reason I have.
Interesting.
Yeah, the pads are not like I can't. Whatever pads could do, I can already not outdo, but like I can already overpower my wheel with just my wheel.
Well, I use my pads. I use pads for braking and I use it for jumping.
Oh,
Because when I accelerate, I don't touch the pads. My legs come out.
oh, okay.
But I use the instep of my foot, and I use the pads to kind of like create that leverage that most people use their shins for in their pads. I use my instep for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to do that on my Monster Pro a little bit.
Okay.
The back was way more important than the front pad for me. The front pad was kind of just floating all the way.
Yeah. I don't really like using pads for torque because I fear over torquing wheels.
Exactly. So yeah, no, I mean, does it apply brake? Probably. I just know that I truly need it there for the sake of comfort. This wheel, the RS line has never been comfortable to me, but I know the power of the EXN, which is why I got it. Like I wanted something just like zippy.
Is yours a torque or a high speed?
Speed.
Nice.
Which is the crazy. I think the EXN is just it's an anomaly. Everyone that I know they feel the same way. EXN was a 100-volt wheel that performed like no other 100-volt wheel.
Right.
At a high speed motor, it felt like high torque. It accelerated instantly. Didn't feel like it had just enough dip too, right? Like it did dip if you wanted to, but it didn't feel like you were overpowering. It was like
it was just a beautiful wheel, well made wheel.
I love it, man. It's to me, it's a really great wheel, and I can only hope that Begode will listen to the distributors and at least keep it available. Even if they're not like making a bunch, it would just be like let's make it available for people who are looking for that wheel, for distributors who want to continue to sell that wheel.
Well, it was a popular wheel,
Yeah, it was. The XM was popular. The Nikola, like I really wish I hope that they change their mind on the Nikola, because there's no wheel like it. So I really hope that they bring that back. But yeah, man.
Yeah, dude, I appreciate the coming on the live. I'm not gonna make it go any longer.
All right.
I will keep in contact with you. Thank you for that information. I'm most likely gonna chop up what you said to make it more digestible for people. So they could, because you did give some valuable information. So everybody, this is iRides, Sam from the NYC. Check out his shop if you're in NYC. I'll put his contact in the comments when we're done here. but some of you already know him. Some of your EUC vibes definitely knows him. There's another guy who was on your Brave Dave knows him. So yeah, good guy, up and coming. So we'll definitely have a good race when we set that up. But in the meantime, you guys can visit EUCblitz.com. Sign up there if you plan on racing, if you're in the New England area or if you're in NYC. When I create the events page on Facebook, you guys can obviously come to the event if you want. If not, you'll have to wait until you see it online. Yeah, you dropped out. You dropped out for a second. But yeah, that's pretty much it for us. So iRides is gonna pretty much do a quick run of the track. Let me know where it is so I can put a pin there so I can let people know where it is. And yeah, that's pretty much it. UC Blitz 002 coming up.
If it's the place that I'm looking for, just so people can get a preview of it, it's basically the Hunts Point area of the Bronx. Like if that's where it ends up being, it'll be the Hunts Point area.
Hunts Point area.
Yeah.
All right, I'll type that in right now. I'll look it up later.
But yeah, all right, guys.
All right.
See you, bro.
See you later, bro. Later, everyone. Peace.